Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Men and women of the House, I rise to support the pending motion. I had not intended to speak today, but a constituent asked me to read an email to the House, and so I will do that if you will indulge me. We know you are extremely busy, but let us take a minute to make a pitch for all the people who are less fortunate and who are struggling to survive now and all year long due to very unfortunate circumstances. Please indulge us if we choose to use our own son as a personal example of all the people for whom we make this plea. And he is but one of the millions of Americans who are trapped in these very unfortunate circumstances through no fault of his own and despite his very best efforts to rise above his circumstances. Chris was born predisposed to an inherited condition known as ankylosing spondylitis, or arthritis of the spine, or AS. And this affliction manifested in him about 10 years ago. Due to this condition, Chris was in chronic extreme pain and unable to stand on his feet, sit, or remain in any position which may be required to perform normal work-related duties for any period of time. In fact, in his marriage, Chris was relegated to sleeping apart from his wife in a recliner because he could not get into or out of bed. In an attempt to relieve his extreme agony, Chris was popping ibuprofen and acetaminophen tablets by the handfuls at much risk of damaging his internal organs. Only when a new doctor was able to diagnose his chronic pain as AS and prescribed embryo injections did Chris find that he could manage the pain and get so much relief to lead a somewhat normal life. But these injections cost about $2,000 a month. These injections were initially covered by MaineCare because Chris was unemployed at the time. When he was finally able to land a job that he could do about 3 years ago, he was immediately informed that he was losing his MaineCare coverage and that the embryo injections would no longer be paid for. But on the very day he received that notification, his job was terminated due to his inability to continue to perform his prescribed duties. If he had been able to retain that job, how could he have afforded the only medication that would manage his pain at a cost of $2,000 per month, which has now increased to more than $3,000 per month? Who except for the very wealthy among us or the well-insured can afford that kind of medication? Fortunately, on appeal, when DHHS was informed that Chris was again unemployed, his MaineCare coverage for the embryo was restored. In addition to this hereditary condition, Chris had the misfortune of being in the wrong place at the wrong time when he was standing at the edge of the stage with a friend at Thunderbird's Lounge in Portland back in 1995 when a pyrotechnic display went awry. Chris was in the front row and was hit in the jugular vein by a piece of shrapnel when an improperly loaded sparkling fountain exploded. He nearly died from loss of blood. Only by the heroic efforts of EMTs transporting him to the Maine Medical Center was he revived and able to survive to this day. However, this tragedy left him with PTSD